Hi, I am just doing an update and reflecting on a lot of thoughts today. Um, First of all, I am back on my Health Life diet. It's called Health Life. Um, for a short, brief period, I had trouble climbing back to it, or getting back on a horse, or climbing back on a horse, as I took a few things different than normal, and then had trouble. Actually, I just ordered something and ate it, and that wasn't very smart at all. But I got off. I got back on the diet, so that's good. And of course, it was only a few days, so it couldn't have hurt. I am also doing very well on a way that I'm very successful in what you can hardly see, redoing my apartment. Well, it's very small, so that's super easy. But I bought a standing desk that goes up and down, and you can see just this walker behind my bed is gone. It's because I moved it here on the other side. And excuse me, I have to take a sip. Okay, so I had to move that to the other side over here and put the standing desk over it. And I built a standing desk. I unboxed it, I built it, and then I moved it over here. I moved the walker over here. I repositioned the other desk, which is now a sort of a corner for studying, and the heater here and there, things. So it felt like I cleaned up, and it felt like I had some kind of new start. And I do, because I'm going to work on the standing desk with the treadmill walk pad running, so that I walk during work. Now I know that will be, for me, it will be like maybe 5 minutes was like, maybe I should stop last time, and I just practiced it a bit. Then I wouldn't get on it anymore, which is why I'm forcing myself to put it at my desk. You should actually consider that if you just won't get on your walking pad. Because you have to work, and the computer's on top of it, so you have to. I guess, I hope maybe 10 minutes will do. And then I have to take a break and do another 10, break another 10. So what happened is that I started thinking and clearing my mind suddenly, and I noticed there were some discrepancies on my purchasing at a store, and so I tried to figure out if there were more, because I thought, where did my money go for the longest time? And it just looked so convoluted that I couldn't even figure out what went wrong. But what I'm doing now is putting everything in Excel, something like Excel, and just writing down everything one by one to see if some of it was stolen. And then I came to these things that I bought, and they were from my other apartment. And I went through all these items one by one, items that I so loved and embraced, And I never really had money. I wasn't kidnapped, and I did get out, but it was a hard time, and I never really had a life, really. So now that I had money to buy some things a while ago, about a year ago, about a year and a month ago, I got these things, and they were just really cute, like maybe a bunch of flowers, fake flowers to put in a pot, or a pot to put them in, or a shell that was a light, a lamp, or just even the bed, or a throw, or things. And I just went through it again and over it. I went over it, and I started realizing, and maybe it was time to one by one write down these items. I couldn't just paste it in, so I had to take the date, the order number, the item name, and what it had cost, and I had to check the pictures and the receipt and the list and the this and the that. So I really went through it, a year later, and I lost everything, right? So, I came to realize I really loved these these items a lot, and a few times I realized to myself, I bought these at the moment that I realized that I couldn't buy what I wanted. Like now, I've been there too, that I have slept on an air mattress because I couldn't get it ordered and delivered. And so other things wouldn't be delivered either. And then at some point, I just decided, well, I'm just going to buy some stuff. And I don't care what it is, I have to have some things. So then I ordered things, not things I liked or loved. Sure, I liked it, but just things that I could handle were there. And that I chose carefully, so that I did like it. And that's all the things that I saw. And so then I realized, again, things like when I bought the mattress, how the guy who delivered it at another store said, well, sometimes really big bugs can come out and people don't like you at the store. I'm not allowed to tell you this, and I was laughing. I said, that's so crazy. I said, yeah, but sometimes it's true. I said, well, that's just insane. And then I had these really big spiders. So maybe they did come from there. I don't know. But I also, again, remembered all the spiders. And they were as big, these legs were as big as my fingers, long as my fingers. And they were on my head. And they were Black Widow to see. And there were a lot. And for many, many months, all these memories come back of all these many, many months that I had that, and that I found like these really big these finger thick holes deep in the pots of my plants. And again, these plants I bought because I thought, well, if I can't buy anything, I'm just going to buy some crap and things and plants and flowers, and I'm going to make it nice and put shells, like ocean shells. And I did enjoy it in a way that it was, it was nice. That's all I could do. And so these, the realization also hit me that if I would have just bought what I wanted from the store that I wanted it, I would have had a classy, stylish, on its own bed and sofa, and that would kind of have been it. I realized it would have been really big, and maybe one thing extra would have been enough. And if I looked out of the window, all the other apartments had sort of decorated like that. Just one big thing, that is it. You know, stylish, big, and kind of spaciously empty. But they wouldn't do it the first time I ordered it. They just said they never even had the money. And I sent them so much money, that I just couldn't handle that. I was like, what are you saying? You know? And I kept sending them evidence of the money being gone from my account. And I kept asking them, because normally if something like that happened, you can talk to the department of the financial department and get it sorted out. And then oftentimes they can go back to sales and say it was paid, and then you still get your items, but they wouldn't do anything. And so I had to wait very long to get that money back. And tried again, they wouldn't do it again. And then tried other things, they wouldn't do that either. And then I gave up and thought, well, then I'll just have a mediocre, nice thing that will be just a lot more furniture then. And then I went to another store, and they took me from the website to a factual store with a person that I didn't even realize I was talking to, Chat. And when I talked to Chat, they took me to a store. And this guy was starting to scam me on top of it. So I paid him and paid him and paid him. And then he asked more and more and more. And I was like, I already paid that. And he would say, that's not what this is about. You just have to pay it. And I was like, a few times, and I was like, and I have to cancel. To cancel that too. Canceled everything, had to wait a really long time, started with another store. The same thing happened, but different. In this case, they didn't really try to scam me, they just didn't have a receipt. So again, all the money was gone, but nothing to show for it. So again, I had to cancel. These are just things that you don't put up with. If you put up with it, you're a nut. You have to have your money back if people start fucking around with you like that. I mean, that's how I feel. I'm sorry if that's different. I do apologize for sounding a little tough about it. But so I've months into time of moving to this new apartment, and but I had beforehand, 3 months before my move, I had gotten ready for it. So I've been making pictures, putting them together, looking if I would like the look, and then already ordering for the future. And so 3 months into moving, and then 3 months after, I've been in this horrid position, like about half a year. And during there, somewhere along the line, I just had to order something and got all these other things. And I just wanted to say I realized, because when I got all these other things, I got all those plants. There was this ad, it was lovely, of a girl who moved in an apartment, or was in an apartment in some way, and it looked like she was sad and alone. And then she ordered all the plants, and she was happy. That was the ad. So she was sitting with all her plants on the balcony or in the house, and it's just kind of true that way, that plants can do that for you. And so I realized that, isn't that nice? And they were a special kind of hydro plant. Yeah, that actually made me think that this one a little later on on the coffee. Um, that's what I thought. If I get that special kind of plant, it will be clean. How controversial to all the truth and reality later. I have been afraid, concerned, worried about bugs since I was in New York and figured out how New York works. I'm sure it's also in other states. It's not just New York, but there are bugs here. Mhm. And people do know it. I should have known it, but I didn't really get ready for any of that. And so I learned that even in clothes or on walls, in beds, on plants, in everywhere, there are all kinds of bugs, whether it's lice or fleas, ticks, bugs, big bugs, small bugs, rats, everything's in New York. And I don't mean they're all in your house, but they're generally everywhere. You sit on a fountain, a rat jumps over you. You sit on a bench, a hobo sat there. Now the bugs are on your pants. It's just a thing. And so when I would buy flowers, I would be really concerned. I started learning that whatever I bought, I would test it. I'm highly allergic. I hold it towards my neck or my face, and it starts itching and biting like that. This is not exactly the same, but it is sort of that. And so I learned that plants have it. If you buy plants, there are also all kinds of bugs on it. It isn't so unpredictable. They put them in the street, on the tiles where all the other bugs live. So it's kind of obvious. I figured it out slowly along the way. And so when I learned that they were hydro plants from a real plant breeding place, I realized that it might be a solution to not being able to have any. I buy fake flowers at one store and I buy hydro plants at the other. And so how ironic in a really bad way that it was filled with spiders, that there were holes in the boxes when it was delivered, so it wasn't just that mattress I worry about. There were holes, big hand-sized, arm-sized, ripped open box holes. And more and more and more and more and more and more spiders. So maybe that was just more spiders. Because later I told you in another recording, I did once see a person bend over and just, throw one in there too or something. So anyway, I just realized things, and there are times that you go over things. You grow, you gaat er even doorheen. You have to go through it and get over it. And so I guess today I had to go through it, and I had to realize, if I just ordered the first time, like I ordered it, I wouldn't have had any plants with spiders, and I wouldn't have had the mattress with whatever guide truth that was, and because of that, I would have never met in that way one of the people that worked at the building that wanted to go out with me, and I said no. After which he got really mad and started kicking my deliveries, and his friends, indeed the ones that throw the spider, and him getting fired because he just wouldn't let go. I like it, he said. So I think that is true. If I would have just had that first buy, I would have never had any of all these problems, maybe other problems, but not these. And then I also realized that I'm over it now. All kinds of things, Yesterday I found a piece of thread that I thought could have been something. I was like, oh, no longer that worried about it. No. And then this bed, I don't care anymore as much. Definitely want everything new and beautiful, and in a way, it's still going to drive me absolutely nuts if I don't have something, but not like I will be driven by somehow these shops doing that. And then I came to thinking of when I was a really young girl, and there were always some people trying to help that were not always there, but always throughout my life at certain times someone would come and try to help. I was a kidnapped, so that's something that can, I was trying to explain everything. So they said one day you'll be all right, and you'll have what you should have. And my kidnappers aren't what you expect of kidnappers. You might think of movies or books or cartoons or your own imagination or your own wishes or whatever, your own experiences. You might think of all kinds of things that you think about. And then you might say that they are just focused on money. And they just lock you up because then they'll have it. And then when they have it, they think, well, we're glad we can let her go because now it's finally over. And then everything was great. Or you can think that they are a little crazy and they just want to have you and keep you. But that's sort of as far as it goes along. And there's the trafficking where people make money on you when you have to work for them in whatever kind of way, or be raped all the time, and then they make money, or sell your babies. Okay, there are all kinds of ways, but this is something you don't really expect. And that is that they really want to hurt. And I should say, as I say about myself, sometimes I'm an extreme person, and then I say what I like, and then I mean to say, I hope you understand that I extremely like it or extremely do it, right? So these, I should explain the same, I guess, in a very extreme way, want to hurt you. In a very extreme way, want to hurt your parents. In a very extreme way, want to hurt the cops, the helper, the agents, the accidentally person that came to help, the other person that walked along. Everybody has to be extremely hurt. And it's not just saying that. There was a time not too long ago, like a lot of things have changed over time. Like in the 70s, things were explained different than now. And over time, you saw that change, right? You'll see it happen in the future if you're not older. It doesn't mean it's always right. And in the 70s or something along the line, there were plenty of people knowing and saying and warnings about certain criminals that actually just liked pain to inflict, not to have it. Nowadays, there are a lot of people who say that that's not always true, But in my case, I can swear that is absolutely true. And these people, they have a really big organization. They work for a very, very big organization. And just saying, because they at that time said, one of them said that if I would ever have any money, which he said he learned was something they would always want to one day give me, of course, because without money we have nothing. I'm a Western girl, I'm not a third world person. Sometimes, I'm sorry, I'm going to break and say that. Sometimes people say be happy that you have a house or be happy that you have legs, or does are disgusting things to say anyway. But also they're related to other types of things, and especially when you think of people now after a pandemic, a lot of people are poor, but they would say before too, and then it was more related to the third world and often relayed or laid towards it, pointed towards it, saying, well, in other parts of the world, people don't have homes, or they don't have food, or they die of starvation. That is just something I don't want to fucking hear, okay? I am not a third world person, so I don't have to say that I am, okay? Because that is actually, it belongs in that part where you should be heard. I'm not doing that. So I'm a Western girl, and I deserve a normal life. There's, especially because there were also rewards, and I worked a lot, and I was born in the family. I should have had a real comfortable life. And so they knew, back to the story, that I was going to one day have it, and then said very specifically that he would make sure that I would never be able to buy anything. So, elaborating, quoting, if she ever moves, we'll make sure no shop will deliver to her. How we'll do it, we'll just work there and stagnate everything that happens. Now I realized. Now, sometimes it flew through my head really fast lately, but now that I'm going through everything, I'm going through all these items, I'm going through all these memories, and I'm going through other memories from the past, and I suddenly realized, my God, And of course I knew, because if I would have thought about it, I would have said, yeah, that's just the shops, Okay, maybe they hate white people, maybe they hate money. Okay, sure, maybe they hate me. Maybe it's the people from other countries, maybe it's the illegal immigrants, maybe it's the black people, maybe it's the Hispanic people. Who do you know they are? I don't know, but of course they all have that. They probably had money to do it from this group. I knew that, but what I didn't really know was how that then really worked. That man said he would do anything, and I have gone to know him, his actions throughout my kidnap, and when he says something, he really, really does it and means it. For instance, when it's a whole different topic, but when I was a baby kidnapped, I grew up, I was a little girl, maybe I was age 5. They were combing my hair, and Belinda, the fake sister, would say, had you better not talk about all the crimes that we're doing, because she's going to, if we don't kill her, a few times, if we don't kill her, she often tried to kill me, she will grow up into an adult and talk. And then what do? Then we have a problem. And I thought you didn't want that, so I thought I'd tell you. And then you should really think about it like that. And so he said, very weird, but I'm going to quote, say it. Just look at her mouth. Look at it. It's wide open. She's drugged. She was always drugged. She will always be drugged. She's drugged in the past, drugged today. She's drugged in the future. I'm going to, when she grows up, live with her. Then they moved first, then they moved outside. There's a corner in that garden where everybody moved when they didn't want to, when they were trying to talk freely. And so they moved to the corner and talked some more. They pushed me in the corner and said, close. And then said later, when she grows up, I'm going to live with her. And if it's, and she will always be like, back to the drugs. She's so drugged, she doesn't know anything. She never knew anything. She never will know anything. She can never talk about it, right? Moving to the corner, saying then I'll live with her later when she's grown up. And her laughing, oh, about, ha ha ha. She could have that heavy, weird voice. And him saying, yeah, ha ha ha. And I might even marry her if I can. And I'm going to make it even worse, because I'm going to be the worst any criminal ever been. When you know me, ha ha ha, wow. And then, and you will not know me anymore, not see me anymore, never meet me anymore in the public eye and tell everyone that you won't because I'm such a bad person. And so that's how they do it, right? But then he added to it a few times. I will make sure for you, you will never, ever be bothered about this. You will never, ever get caught for this. You will be my main priority, Belinda. For the rest of my life, I will fight to make sure you will be never even bothered about it, Belinda. And so I then saw him do it. And just the day of today, if I write about Belinda, I recognize him with his little voice or little tricks coming back. And so, why am I saying this? Well, that, so Belinda also, about spiders, once as far as I can remember, maybe more often, had this spider egg. Black widows lay big round balls, and they're filled with little invisible little spiders, see-through spiders. And she puts it in my hands, and for a while it's on the table, they talk about it, and I think maybe it takes a few weeks to really get to this point, so maybe it happened a few times, but at some point she says you have to open it up and leave it on your arm. And I did. I was a kid, I was like 5, and so all these little babies crawled over my arm, and so somebody came and did a what do you call it when you take care of bugs? There was an insecticide treatment for it, and I had to be treated all over, and constantly heard of how terrible it was to do that to a kid, because they can grow up and they're all very deadly. Each and every one of them is black widow spiders. They're very, very deadly. And Belinda saying a number of times, one day in the future, we're going to give her some really, really big ones. And so there you have it. My kidnap. Well, I have to live with it. It's what it is. You can prevent. I can prevent it partially. I spray. I use insecticide. I have spider sprays. I keep it very clean. And one very important thing: I'll never have another plant as long as I live in the United States of America. In other countries, these kinds of spiders don't really survive. Where they don't, at least I would probably maybe have a plant. But just saying, yeah. So that is what's going in my mind today. And yeah, what can I do? I could disappear, and I'm not really ready or looking for that. But I have also thought, why would I even consider doing this anymore? I would put a bed. It's not that. But I do think that if I have more money, that I should just forget about it and just do nice things, maybe go out or, see some nice things and wear a nice dress and just forget about that and do other things that they might not be able to be a part of. Like when I moved over here to the US, I lied I would go somewhere else, and I bought 3 different tickets so they wouldn't know which plane I would be on. And that's sort of how you have to live. So you could go from hotel to hotel if you have enough money. They would figure that out anyway. but they would run after it, go there. By the time I'm there, I should say by the time they're there, that I'm already gone. Or at least when I feel that something's up, I could leave. And yeah, that's different when you live somewhere a few months or a year. You see staffs are changing. Sometimes their whole air, or attitude, or face. Sometimes just fired, new place, new people. And you notice things are falling apart. Then there are repairs that make things worse. Then there are smells of things like dead tissue. Then there are more and more problems like burglaries and well, you feel really good now. You start to feel very drugged or old or tired or sick. And so then you know that things are not going very well. And if you go to a hotel, you stay there a night and you leave, you sort of evade all of that. And that's a really good plan. And other than that, buying things in the shop is the best if your foods are drugged. I've done that a lot. Lately I've just been filling up my refrigerator, but look at my eyes. And so what's much better is to just find something in the supermarket and eat it, throw the rest away, and buy it again the next day, you know. So maybe live somewhere with a lot of supermarkets, in maybe Las Vegas, and the biggest hotels where the biggest guys are big enough to handle shit like this. If you're just in a nice building, people are just gonna drop like flies, you know. But then still, it would be sad if people got hurt. It's always sad, so let's just don't move around. So I think if I have money, it comes down to a lot of traveling. And then I guess because I'm saying this, that will probably also become a problem. So maybe just disappearing off the grid. That's what the guys do, right? Disappear off the grid.